Replace the word privilege with advantage or luxury. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and real quick semantic note, because on occasion I love me some semantics, I just wanted to mention that social justice warriors have obviously more or less changed the definition of the word privilege basically every time they use it, and I think it's about time that we start correcting them when it comes up. You see, privilege, by definition, is a special right, advantage, or immunity available only to a particular person or group of people, which, if you really think about it, kind of throws a bit of a wrench in the gears of a lot of the white privilege and especially male privilege narratives that people are fed. Out of the three things given that constitute a member of a certain group having a supposed privilege, advantage is the only one that could be argued that white people or males actually might have over other people. White people nor males are not given any special rights under the law, and there's plenty of arguments to be made that due to things like affirmative action quotas, hate crime jurisdictions, violence against women acts, and social services like women's homeless shelters, whites and males are given less special rights and immunities than women and racial minorities. Still, I will concede that white people are very often advantaged by virtue of the fact that they are white, mainly just by the way of the fact that they are in the majority, and many or most members of any given majority group in any given situation will always have a bias, which is usually positive, for other members of the majority group that they are a part of. Men, as well, are treated differently than women in many fields where women aren't taken seriously, such as fields I've worked in like DJing and electronic music production. I can tell you honestly that there is kind of an unspoken assumption that female DJs and producers aren't usually all that good. And often this is true, and they only get booked if they do get booked at all because people sometimes like to book female DJs for whatever reason. That said, one of the reasons people assume that racial minorities were hired at certain jobs or female DJs were booked at certain events has to do with the very tangible and concrete privilege that comes as a result of affirmative action quotas or club promoters wanting to book female DJs. There's often all-female DJ nights, for example. Getting hired or booked strictly based on your skin color or gender is a tangible special right, and being able to stay in a women's only shelter is a very tangible immunity that females only get at the expense of the higher male homeless population that is kept out. Like I already said, the only part of quote-unquote privilege by definition that majority groups or commonly successful populations like white males actually hold is the advantaged part, which is very abstract, hard to calculate, and isn't absolute. But more than that, if the word advantage is basically interchangeable with the word privilege according to the definition, why can't we just use the word advantage more and encourage social justice types to use this more honest wording? Why can't we just try to replace the word privilege with advantage often? Would that be all that hard? So I propose this. Next time somebody mentions white privilege, why don't you just say, I believe you mean advantage, not privilege. And when people talk about how white people are privileged because they don't have to worry about racial microaggressions as much as black people, you can just say it's a luxury to not be reminded of being a minority, but not so much a privilege. A privilege, by definition, is something afforded exclusively to an individual or group. But females, racial minorities, transgender people, religious minorities, and gay people can all be successful in all of the ways that white straight males can be. Minorities and females are not being systematically left out of things. They might not, however, be advantaged by in-group majority preferences in many arenas, nor given certain luxuries like not being looked at weirdly by everybody when you check into a fancy hotel. But still, it's just some semantics, and SJWs love semantics. So sometimes it's fun to fight fire with fire. Tell them it's not a privilege, it's an advantage or a luxury. Tell them that. That's all I have to say for today. Drop me a comment, help me out on Patreon if you think I have a cool voice for some reason, and stay tuned.